Basketball prodigy is a term that gets thrown around a lot, especially when people are looking for the next big thing in the sport. However, rarely do we see players that get this label early on actually live up to that billing. But there is one prospect that I believe is a true basketball prodigy that's already playing against players with NBA experience. I don't usually make videos about prospects, let alone a prospect that isn't even draft eligible, but Scoot Henderson is the exception to that rule. Someone who I believe is going to be the next great point guard in basketball, and he's technically a part of the NBA system already. He played in the NBA's minor league, he participated in NBA events at All-Star Weekend, and at just 17 years old, he dominated against grown men in the NBA's G-League. Someone who I believe would be the number one pick in the 2022 NBA draft, and it wouldn't even be close if he were draft eligible. And in today's video, I'll be breaking down the game of Scoot Henderson and why I believe he can be the next great point guard in basketball. Scoot Henderson has unreal physical tools for someone his age. My introduction to Scoot Henderson was very similar to the introduction of Yuji Itadori in Jujutsu Kaisen, which is basically that he's a high school age person that's just built different as an athlete. He stands at 6'2", he weighs 195 pounds, has a wingspan that's likely around 6'8" or 6'9". He's built like a tank and has an NBA ready frame already, and the strength to play in the NBA in my opinion as well. The only guard I've scouted that has similar-ish frame and has this kind of NBA ready build is Anthony Edwards when we're talking about guards. And I honestly think Scoot Henderson is a better prospect than Anthony Edwards was at the same stage. He has elite burst and quick first step, he has a great vertical explosion to his game, he has strength to dominate as a slasher, his body control is incredible considering his strength, he can draw fouls, he has a good handle that expands his game in the open floor and as a slasher, and he also has good touch as a finisher as well. I'm not kidding when I say that this is a 6'2" point guard doing Giannis type things in the open floor. What he's capable of athletically shouldn't be possible for a small guard, and that's the reason he's such a special prospect. But it's not just about the physical tools either, he's a very skilled player. Like I mentioned earlier, he has a very good handle, he shows a lot of encouraging signs as a shot creator off the dribble. Having that handle really just expands his offensive game as a creator. He has a good pull-up mid-range game, which I think is his bread and butter as a shooter right now. The three-pointers do need work though, the numbers aren't great, there are some pretty bad misses, but I do think I've seen some encouraging signs as a three-point shooter, enough for me to believe that he's far from a lost cause in this area. He has good range on his shot, he has a good free throw percentage at 77.8, which is always an encouraging sign, especially when you factor in the G-League rules of one free throw worth 2 points. But really, I do believe that if anything is possible that he needs to fix in his game, it's the three-point shooting. And when that's one of your major sort of weaknesses in your game, and it's still something that could end up being pretty solid for you, and there's enough encouraging signs, you're doing something right as a prospect. Scoot is also a good passer that has primary and secondary upside. I believe it trends more towards the secondary upside, but I do think that there are some tools here that suggest he does have primary upside, and someone that can float between being a primary and a secondary is actually pretty valuable, and I think that he can be good at both of them, but might excel a bit more at one of the others than both per se. He makes good reads and throws decently accurate passes. He has decent vision as well. He needs work in this area of the game, but for someone who spent most of his life as a primary scorer, it's pretty encouraging to see him show legit signs as a passer, especially considering he's far from the main option on that Ignite team. Scoot Henderson's 14.3 points a game, 4.7 rebounds a game, and 4.2 assists per game on 56.4 true shooting percentage across 22 games this season in the Ignite program is even more impressive when you consider the context of his situation. Scoot was far from a main option on the Ignite team, coming off the bench for the most part. Now, this says a lot more about the structure and the goals of Ignite rather than it says anything about Scoot Henderson himself. The goal of Ignite is to develop its prospects for the next level, and Scoot Henderson isn't draft eligible yet, even though he probably should be. Like I said earlier, he would be the #1 pick if he was in this draft. But the point is that there are 5 draft eligible prospects that are going to get more opportunity. 4 of them, I think, legitimately will get drafted. And those prospects are going to be the priority when they're on a developmental team where the draft eligible prospects are the priority prospects. Dyson Daniels could be a top 10 pick. Marzon Butem could go late lottery. I think Jaden Hardy could even go late lottery. And Michael Foster has second round potential. So this context of having other players prioritized ahead of Scoot, and Scoot still being an incredibly productive player despite that, is really impressive. But the more insane context of his situation is the competition he's facing at this young of an age. Scoot played most of this season with Ignite at 17 years old, making him one of the youngest American professional basketball players of all time, and the youngest player to ever play in the G-League. Now, it should be noted, the G-League was kinda down this season because of the amount of players getting called up due to health and safety protocol that left a lot of teams looking for players to meet the game time requirements for active roster size. However, despite that, this is still a very good league, full of players that were the best on their college teams and have pro experience, as well as being grown men. For a 17-year-old facing competition like this, it should be a lot. But for Scoot Henderson, he not only survived this competition, he dominated this competition. He had a 31-point game in his second ever game with G-League Ignite. He had a near triple-double with 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 10 assists. He's had so many games where he dominated at this level, which is incredible. At his age, if he averaged half the points and half the assists he did this season, it would have been impressive. Let alone what he was able to do while not being a priority player in a season where he wasn't even a legal adult for the most part. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, do all those things. Be a big help to me. Also, I want to make it very clear, I'm not planning on doing a lot of draft content on this channel, or scouting content on this channel. I do have a channel where I am doing draft content, or planning to do draft content, I should say. I'll put that channel in the description below. I'm going to be doing my prospect breakdowns over there. Also, I have a draft podcast with my friend Asher. We have released one episode about the Duke prospects. Either another one will be out about Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren will be out either before or after this video goes up, but it will be out sooner than later. I'm excited about that. Go subscribe. I'll put links to both my channel where I'm doing draft content and the draft podcast channel I'm doing with Asher in the description below, as well as Asher's channel, because he said he is planning on doing draft content. So go check out that, other great draft content creators. But again, Scoot Henderson was just a player that I felt was worth talking about in a video that was on this specific channel, because he's that good. And technically he is a part of the NBA already, because he does play in the G-League, which is an affiliate of the NBA. Yeah, technicalities. But with that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.